I don't care what the others say, and I still think of you night and day, and yeah, I lost my way, I can't walk, can't stand, can't talk, can't fly without you now. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you. I'm so lost without you.
What is up, everybody, and welcome yet to another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you, as always, to upgrade your skills before your gear. Now, if it's your first time here, welcome. It's been a long time coming, but welcome to studio number 2 of the Camera Junkie live stream. So this is the first of many episodes that we have done, but this is the first one that is going to be here in the new home, new studio, and I grossly underestimated the amount of time that I had to do this today. But as always, I want to thank you for making the time and hanging out here with me. As tradition goes in the Camera Junkie live stream, forgot to mention that if it is your first time, please be sure to introduce yourself. If you want to see a comment or question to me directly, please be sure to leave it in the comment down below. And as the tradition goes around here, we always go to check out to see who are the first Camera Junkie crew members to hang out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Oh, this is a horrible shot. What is going on? This is using my face cam, and this is the camera that I'm like looking at. I did not save the settings, so let's make sure. But hey, we'll rock it from there. Huge difference, as you can see. So if you're wondering, what you were looking at was the high definition, hypothetically high definition 720p webcam, or the camera that's built into the MacBook Air, and now you're looking at the A7C Mark II with the 24-50 2.8G lens, which is an amazing combination. And you're listening to the ECM1 microphone that's connected to this camera as well. So the camera, lens, and microphone are all being broadcast right now through one USB-C cable, and that's how I'm running this stream. This is like bare minimum, and it should be good enough. Now I just have my one small light, and like I was telling you before, grossly underestimated the amount of time that I had to do all of this, so I got it done just in the nick of time. But let's go ahead and check out the crew now that we got things going. So right off the bat, we have Mr. Moderator Paul in the house saying greetings. And as you can see, I already have a lot more space. Like, just this shot by itself is a complete stark difference from what I was dealing with in Studio One. So I was going extra wide to make sure that it gave depth and looked into it. And now that there is depth, there's a whole lot more space. And just putting Paul's comment, you see, it says, are you still vertical? I'm guessing still vertical. I don't know what that means, but as you can see, the entire comment lives here, and before it used to live on my beard, you know, and a lot of times the comment would take. So this is already looking a lot better, and all we're using is just one shot. As you can see, all the shadow behind me. But as you can see, we got some traffic going on in the background as well. And of course, Mr. Aiden. What's up, buddy? Papi. I brought a bowl full of snacks, and this guy tore it up just on the drive up here. So, literally, like I said, I total gross underestimation of time. Randy's in the house saying hello to everyone. How are you doing, Randy? Paul saying hi to Randy. He's saying hi to Paul. We got Kathy in the house as well saying hello to all. He goes, that is better. Yes, as you can tell, the huge difference. But I'm very impressed, and with what Doc was, well, we were talking about his camera setup and how he went full frame. I'm gonna be doing the same, even though I'm a big proponent for APS-C when it comes to video. I might use the FX30, but most likely I'm gonna be throwing this guy on here as gonna be the full-time, you know, like camera, because of the ease of use. Now, the simple fact that I can just throw a USB-C on it, and whenever I want to grab the camera, I can just disconnect it that same way, is why I think I'm going to be doing that. Plus, I want to get the full frame lenses that I do have, like my Zeiss 55mm f1.8, and actually start using that a lot more for the setup. So what you're looking at right now is basically the living room that's just like behind me. But the idea that I have is to actually convert kind of this area right here in the background to be that new space. So I'm gonna be building everything off of that wall here, right? Like this wall right here. And there's a space because the room where my father's gonna stay is gonna be right behind us, so I'm not gonna be far off from him. Whether I'm working on the computers editing and he needs anything, I'll just be right there. And then just right around this corner is room Aiden, so to speak, and behind me we have the kitchen. This, where I'm standing at right now, is technically the dining room, but there's not going to be a lot of, like, you know, visitors for dinner guests, so to speak. So I'm going to be converting this area to kind of like the living space, kind of like a central area, and then everything behind me is going to be Studio 2, and that's why I wanted to give you this shot. So we'll be exploring through it when I have things better set up to actually be able to explore and show you all the little nooks and crannies. There is a balcony back there, so that's going to be a lot of fun with my, well, as you can see over here, right? My telescope. Hopefully I can get a clear view of the night sky, not covered by trees. But if not, you know, we'll figure it out either way. So that's what I'm looking at. But the difference is that right here, what I'm saying is, like, that corner is going to be my main spot. There's a door, right? And then there's another spot here, which is where I think I'm going to run an HDMI cable along the wall and mount another camera in this little nook over here, which is a good, actually, let's go ahead and check it. Just rough, like between 8 to 10 feet, right? Space from that wall, which will be ideal for my longer lenses and my zoom lenses like this one, like to be able to crank this guy into like 50mm mode, right? Like that. Let's see how far. Definitely I would need to bring the light in a lot more, but as you can see, there's a lot of possibilities, especially when this is 24mm here, and you can see how much space I'm dealing with now. So I'm excited to see exactly what we're gonna get into, but it says new space magic. Exactly, that's what I'm feeling now. I was thinking I was gonna have so much time to actually like come over here and cut my hair. Look, where is it? It shouldn't be too far away. I got my bag with all of my, like barber's materials and all my tools and everything because I do cut my own hair. And I was thinking that I was gonna have time to do all that, take a shower, and then set all of this up. And I'm like busting through the door at 9:30 to go live at 10. So there you go. So I thought you were using a nasal cam. I know it's so bad. For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, it's just started to stream with the built-in high definition camera. Let me see if I could. I don't even know if I want to do it, but nah, you know what? Just leave it. This is looking a lot better. And this is what I'm seeing with the darker background and the more space, like lights are gonna pop off. Like the little accents lights that I had, they're gonna make a much bigger difference in this space. Do I have anything at all to rip? Like, no, let me try not to. More than anything, I'm just excited in the fact that like everything's done majorly. Like now it's kind of just slowly unpack, put away the things that we're gonna use and throw away anything that we don't. Even though I threw away a lot of things when it came to my father's place. My sister went in there and she just packed everything, and it was just like everything was in boxes. So when it comes to my dad's things, I'm gonna really have to go through them with him to see exactly how it is. So currently he's at a like a recovery center, right? While I was doing this entire move, I think I had mentioned it, but he's gonna be coming home tomorrow. So as soon as I'm done here with the live stream, I'm gonna hop into his room and just kind of finalize and setting up his things. I already got like his TV and a bunch of other things, like his commodities and like his things to just make his life easier, his computer, his interests. So I'll be doing that so that tomorrow around 2 p.m. I'll be picking him up, and then he'll have everything ready. And once again, I'll take my time, slowly but surely, while I'm taking care of Aiden, to unbox everything. And man, there are a lot of boxes. Like I'm just looking at them, I'm like, and I could, as I yawn, excuse me, I was just gonna mention that I've never been so tired in my life. Like I might have done things previously that could have expended more energy, but there's also the fact that I probably started with a lot less energy being of older age. So right now, exhaustion is through the roof. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out. Oh, on camera's also here saying hi, Lewis, MCJ fam. How you doing, Gretchen? Randy says, I see no internet speed problems in this stream. No. Now, I think I might have looked out. I still gonna need to use some sort of like the Speedify to mesh it, right? So whichever one that you're using to create a mesh network, that's still gonna be in the progress. But this little thing right here, boop, 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 that little box right there is the internet that I'm using now. This is straight Wi-Fi, and as you can see, I have it as close to the window as possible, and I'm getting around 65 to 70 up and down. That's what I'm dealing with right now. So for 4K, it's still working, and that's what I was testing out. We're gonna see exactly what it all looks like. There's no like everything's still just being done very minimally because I'm not pushing out any type of like pixels like I would be off of my Mac Studio. But at the same time, we'll see exactly what this looks like. And what I'm thinking is that I'm gonna need to get both. This is the T-Mobile one, but for this box to get these speeds, paying $165 a month. So that's just that internet. And the good thing about that is that that one's also like anywhere. So they've been providing a lot of services that are like built for your house, which is probably what I'm going to get as a secondary internet source from AT&T. So I think it's called AT&T Air, and that is like specific by your location. So they'll be able to send like a stronger 5G signal to like beam it to your home or to the area, and you'll be able to use a similar box like that with AT&T. So that's also the reason why I'm thinking that that's gonna, well, not thinking, but I already said that that's gonna be the corner for working, because of the simple fact that is the closest to the outdoor, and it's gonna have no other like buildings in front of it, so it's straight out to the street, so it should give it the best probability for stable internet connection. And right now we are listening to music. That music is being downloaded from Epidemic and then back uploaded through Ecamm, plus the video feed and the signal. And we're doing all of this in 4K wirelessly. Now, these do have connections for hardlines. So what I'm hoping is that this one connected via, Ethernet cable directly to the computer should boost up the speeds. And if I can get about 100 up and down, and if I could add like another 35-40 with the AT&T mesh that, I think those numbers, 140 up, 140 down, should suffice. But I think I explained it to you guys last week. I just kind of duped myself with the name of the company because it's called Bluestream Fiber. So just thinking that that was the name, that we were going to have access to fiber, I'm doing my best. But good to know that everything seems to be running good. And oh no, I shrunk. Let's embiggen this. And can I shrink it just a bit? This is what happens when you don't have your mouse. All right, don't touch it. And let's lock the scene. All right, there we go. We'll continue. But you know what? Let's do something, because talking about this, right? Hey, Parker's in the house as well. He's saying hello. Scott's also here saying what's up to the crew. Because that's better up than what I have. Okay, so that's good to know, right? I guess I'm just being, like I mentioned last week, I'm probably just being overly spoiled. But $165 for internet is like more than, well, it's just about double what I was paying for a gig up and down with AT&T. So it's gonna be tough, and I'm gonna need to add another like service ticket. So let's just say, I don't know how much the AT&T Air costs. Now, T-Mobile has the same type of service for like at-home internet 5G, which I might use as the third, because they use the same towers as T-Mobile. But I really want to see the speeds, because I doubt that they're going to give the same types of speeds. Now, this box that I'm mentioning here, this is their upgraded top-of-the-line Pro box. That's why I'm able to get these speeds through this. The other ones, they charge like anywhere from $35 to $50 a month. And if I add, let's say, another $100 worth of internet, I'm looking at like $265. So what I'm hoping is that the T-Mobile internet that I can get maybe through another provider which uses the same T-Mobile towers, which is Metro PCS, over here, get a Metro PCS box that's similar to this. So I'll have the T-Mobile, the Metro PCS, and the AT&T. My fingers are being crossed that I can get similar speeds that what I'm getting here on one of those two boxes. If I can get that, then I'll probably downgrade this AT&T one to the similar home service, right? To not to the mobile one, which is the pro package at 165. Because then that one they'll charge $50 a month as well. And if I can do 3 5G services at like around $35-50 a month and mesh them together with Speedify to get, you know, decent connection, then I think that might be what I have to play for right now. But worst case scenario, I could just stick with this one, because if this works out, then it might just be easier to pay one bill of $165 than to try to figure out all the rest. And if I really want redundancy, I'll still get either that AT&T or the Metro PCS one, and we'll be good. Yeah, you see, Scott's doing the math. I already did that in my head, and I was like, exactly. So paying $265 a month for internet sucks. But what will suck even more is the time that I will lose uploading files that I'm editing and working on and wasting all that time. It's like okay, you know, at that point I'll just be like, you know, you got to take the hit sort of as a business, and then just focus on getting another client that will kind of, you know, pay for that for the year. And that's it. You know, you just got to look onward, because I can't get too knocked up on it. You know, speaking clearly, we're in different seasons of our lives, right? And this season might not be, hey Lewis, you get to have fiber up and down, you know, a gig up and down fiber internet right now. You're gonna have to like deal with, you know, the wireless service, because that's not the purpose of this. The purpose is to make the time and give my father the best remaining time that he has. I'm trying to make it at best, but like I've mentioned here before, it's a race against the clock. The one thing that I can say is that my father has squeezed out all the independence that he can, because he rode it till the wheels fell off, so to speak, because right now he's not in the best of shape. So thoughts and prayers for Pops, but at the same time, like, he can no longer do it by himself. He did it by himself for as long as he could, and maybe even a little bit longer than he should have. And like I tell everyone, I had this offer, you know, on the table for him to do something like this for years already, and he was just being stubborn and not listening. Like, it was like the beginning of the year that I was telling him, hey, you know, you're having a little trouble with your balance. You should probably get yourself a cane. I was like, you know, and you're of age. I go, so, you know, you walking around with like a little pimp cane isn't gonna look bad. You understand? You look like a don just walking around, and get you something. Now he's walking with a cane because he needs it for the balance. And you know, and it's not one of the nice looking ones. It's one of the more functional ones with the 4 feet at the bottom that, you know, like, it's gonna make sure that it's gonna keep dad upright. But that's exactly where we're at right now. You know, we're rolling with the punches, and I just can't wait to get him here tomorrow, get him out of the recovery place, because it was like I said, racing against the clock, and all the things that I needed to do. It's just been tough. I'm extremely exhausted, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's what I'm excited about. Yes, sir. Time is money, sir. That's why I said I probably don't need, I probably shouldn't like waste time running around trying to get all these different internet boxes and things like that. I'll probably give the AT&T a call, because they were easy. They were literally like, oh, we'll just send it to your house, no credit checks or anything like that. Like, it was gonna be super easy. But when they told me that it wasn't fiber and that it was wireless, I was like, oh, hold your horses. Let me do a little bit more research on who can provide me that fiber, and come to find out that it's no one. So that's where we're at. Yes, sir. Randy says, true, family first. It's hard to give up independence, but loving family members will help him in the transition. Also, you know, I'm trying to do my best, and I'm just speaking clearly that I'm just trying to do my best in listening to other people's experiences and taking that as advice, because I've listened and heard enough content and comments of people always saying like the things that they regret is, you know, not taking the time that they had and spending it with family and doing the things that they should have when they were just wrapped up working a job for a business that doesn't give, you know, three S's about them. So I'm extremely fortunate, and I'm grateful every single day that I get to work with an amazing company like Ecamm that is family and that has a family first approach. And they've given me the ability to do this for my son and now for my father. And I will forever be grateful because I get to work doing something that I love and take the time to spend with the people that I love. And this is a time in my life that I can never get back. So it's like I need to do it now or it will never get done. So I'm very glad that I'm able to do it. So I'm very fortunate. I recognize that because there's so many people who have had to live with regret and, you know, not able to tell people certain things while they're still around, and then regret and have to carry that for the rest of their lives, that they were not able to say that to the people, you know, give people their flowers while they're here. And I think I'm doing my best to do that, to slow down and smell the roses, how they say, and take the time and make the time for the people that I love. So very similar to that is like this live stream that I do every single week, which is making the time and taking the time to hang out with all of you. And don't you doubt that I love you the same, because you guys mean so much. And throughout all the tough times and all the difficulties that I've gone through, I have to let you know that you guys have been solace for me in helping me get through and stay focused when it can be very easily to lose that. So thank you. Scott says, I just had legit fiber installed last week. Half gig service, $29.99 a month with auto pay, activates on Monday. Dude, that's awesome. Frontier, that's so dope. It's gonna be a game changer completely, because that's what I'm saying. Like I'm over here complaining like a spoiled little brat. I understand it's first world problems, right? Like I'm over here running a wireless internet, right? Complaining about fiber, and Paul is mentioning over here that I'm still getting faster speeds than he is. At the same time, if I wanted to get speeds like this at a hotel or at a Wi-Fi, I'd be ecstatic. So, you know, we're gonna roll with it, and so far so good. I'm excited for it. Let me see if I can give you guys a better view of what's going on here as well. Let me see, because there's no light, but you see, that's the space that I'm saying. So computer area here, right? Camera is gonna be facing out this way. So what I'm planning is that, like from this angle, right? If you're seeing, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see through that glass. And if you're looking forward, you're kind of gonna be seeing it at an angle the same way that I had it previously. So what I'm thinking, just like before, is that there's gonna be a monitor that's gonna be like sitting towards the corner, and then two cameras kind of just off to the right that are in a similar angle, and then another one which is going to be the long camera coming off this wall. With the HDMI cable running off of the top to give the highest quality, and everything lives on this wall, allowing me to take that wall and do whatever I want with it, including throw a couple of 3D printers on there. Now, I don't know who's listening, but I'm gonna mention it. There's an update to my 3D printer rabbit hole. Okay, so let's see. Let me make sure we don't have any coming. No, Frontier's the last one. Okay, let me get a sip, and we're gonna get into this because my mind is just like melting. But we'll get there. Because at the same time, it's a really cool story, and it's a flex that I didn't even know had happened. But it just goes to show you how interesting and like how small this world could be at the same time. Okay, so let's get into it. I've been having a problem with my Bamboo Labs A1 Mini, and I've been falling down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out why I've been having this issue with layer separation, under extrusions, like just a bunch of different, terms and things, just bad prints. Basically, at the end of the day, they're not printing, and I keep testing and they keep failing and failing and failing. And I'm changing out parts and I'm replacing parts, and I'm running down this rabbit hole. Could it possibly be this? And I'm testing with my multimeters, and I'm telling you, I've gone through this, and like I mentioned last week, I need to find out what's causing this, because of the simple fact that I don't want to consider these printers to just be like disposable. Now, with that being said, I had about $100, like 95 something, about $100 worth of parts to order from Bamboo Labs to come to the house so that I can then start swapping and testing to continue to see exactly what's happening. As I was doing that, I hit up OfferUp, and I'm just scrolling away, and I found a listing for an A1 Mini. Hey, what's up? What's up, Hank? Sneaking in here? Check it out. Glad to have you here on the live, brother. Welcome to Studio 2. Episode 1 of Studio 2, but 244 overall. But as I continue. So, I'm on OfferUp now, and I find a listing for a Bamboo Labs A1 Mini, just like mine. And, it's less than you would buy brand new. What's up, Kevin? Also sneaking in here, saying what's up to everyone. So the Bamboo Labs A1 Mini right now is being sold for $250. They usually go on sale for about $200, and I kind of just missed on a deal because they were selling it at that price just last month. So there was a listing for an A1 Mini on OfferUp for $300, and I'm like, bro, they sell new for $250. I was like, I'll offer you $150 because I'm not gonna get a warranty or anything like that. I got ghosted with that message, so just kept looking, and then a couple of days later, another one came up, and they were actually, it had been up for a while, and they had just reduced it from like $220 to $180. But the difference was that this person gave me all the information on this printer. It said it only had 20 hours of printing on it. When I saw the pictures, it had all the factory stickers on it. The previous one that I had seen, I already had seen like all the modifications that the person had done to the actual printer itself. Similar modifications that I had made to my own printer. That's why I could recognize them. So I knew that certain of those prints were lengthy timed prints. So there was quite a few hours on it, and the hours on the printer tends to be almost like a mileage on a car. So on top of it having very low, it only had 20 hours of prints on this machine, and they were asking $180. It came with a lot of extras, and I mean a lot of extras that end up being like 5, 10, 20, 25, and they just kept amounting to basically like another like $80 worth of little gadgets and like extra like I guess, consumables, you would say, like parts that you would use, that kind of like tires on the car that you're gonna consume while you're using it. So that, with an extra build plate, which the build plate by itself was just like another $26. I'm like, $26 off of that, it fell well under the $150 range. So I'm like, I can grab another bamboo A1 mini, right, for about the price of what I got in the cart right now. Plus, I'm gonna have a lot of extras because a lot of the things that the person had, I had in my cart. So I'm like, I could just eliminate a lot of these. And it was an entirely new printer, because that's what really hit me. I go, okay, I could continue to buy parts from Bamboo Labs, and as soon as I figure it out, right, and I fix my printer, I'm gonna have a bunch of spare parts, but I'm only gonna have one printer, right? Which was still kind of like my problem, that if I was printing something and my mind was going and I was like, oh, I want to print something else, I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for that printer to finish printing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. I reached out to the person, and I bought a second Bamboo Labs A1 Mini for $180. And the first thing, after I ran the test and everything was good and perfect, I checked the hours, 20 hours, and all the extras. It was just amazing. Here's the little bit of the flex. While I was speaking with the person who was selling me the printer, of course I asked, why are you selling this printer with such low hours? And he's like, I haven't even had the printer in my possession for 2 weeks because I just got it. And I go, so if you just got it, why are you selling it? And he's like, because I bought the bigger one. He's like, because I saw how good the A1 Mini was, and I was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna need the full size A1. And I go, makes sense. So at the same time as we're talking, I mentioned to him that the biggest flex that I can say as a personal, like, notch that I've done since I've gotten into 3D printing was when I recently entered the Maker World contest not too long ago off of their website. And the reason why I say that was a flex was because it was the first time that I had jumped onto the computer, created a design. As soon as I was done with the design creation in CAD, I sent it to print, and the first print worked 100%. It worked perfectly. And it was the first time that I had gotten from a concept in my mind to a CAD file and to print, and that the first official print, like the test print, worked perfectly with no other modifications needed to be done. And that to me was like the thing that I always say, the upgrading your skills before your gear. So that's my own personal flex of saying, you know what, I was able to do something that I kind of impressed myself, right? I was like, yes, this is growth. So as I was talking that with him, he was like, oh, that's so crazy, like I wish I can get there. I go, bro, like, you're just starting and you went from the A1 Mini to the A1 full size. I'm like, just take your time. I saw the passion in his eyes. I was like, you're going to be learning CAD in no time, right? So I mentioned this only to emphasize what happened afterwards. After we finished the transactions and I'm loading it into my car, we're still just talking about it. And I'm mentioning to him, of course, I had mentioned to him the whole thing about the Maker World contest and why I made that CAD design. So as I was loading the printer into it, he asked me, he says, hey, what's your tag on Maker World so that I can follow you through that application? And I tell him, I go, oh, it's the same as all my social medias. I'm Mr. Camera Junkie. You can find me under there. And I kid you not, I'm standing behind my car and I tell him, Mr. Camera Junkie. His face lights up. And I was like in shock. I was like, what just happened? And his face lights up. He's like, oh, I already follow you. He's like, you made the Scattis board clip for the cameras. And I'm like, yeah. I go, that's the thing that I love. And he's like, I printed so many of that Scatus board clip for cameras for my friend who's also a photographer. He goes, so I printed so many of that thing for my friend for his IKEA Scatus board. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, because of course. So that's like another thing that I was like, out of all of the people in the world that I would have found through OfferUp to buy a 3D printer, I found the one dude who was already following me through Maker World and had already printed some of my designs, and I was able to meet him in person, and he gave me the personal thanks for what I was able to create. And that, for me, I can't tell you, that made my day. That was like, this was the printer that I was supposed to buy. Like, this was supposed to happen. And that was just like an amazing thing. Like, I'm sharing it with you guys. That made my day. I was like, that shows you like how cool and how small this world is, to the point where, you know, what you do matters, and what you create matters, because it could change it, and it could change something for the positive for somebody else. And I was just very fortunate that out of the randomness, I was able to meet someone that I had already been able to help in that way. And that was just like the coolest thing for me. So, yep, that was super cool. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for this week, guys. I wish I can tell you that I had more time to plan out and that we have a city's gaw and that, like, but I'm gonna be real with you. This was episode 1 of Studio 2, and this was kind of like, you know, the on the road hotel bathroom streams, right? I also wish there was more to do, but there is something that I can give to you. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, I can't because I don't have it here. Oh, that sucks. Okay, well, I'll make sure that I'll make this person City's Gone next week. And let me go back to it because it's something that I was speaking about, but I kind of squirreled off and forgot to mention it, which was Doc Rock earlier today. He did his live stream, and I was able to catch it compared to the last couple of weeks because of all the moving. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh man, of course he's using a full frame camera, that I could tell, but the image was so crispy, the colors that I'm always, and listen, because I would notice the colors were never right for such a long time. Whenever I would get his files for the Flow podcast, I have a color profile to fix the colors. You understand? Which are things that I can tell you nobody notices. Nobody's ever said, hey, you know what? Amazing job on fixing Doc Rox's colors for the podcast this week. But it's things that I say as an editor that I've noticed and that I would always notice. So as soon as I saw his live stream and I saw the colors, like, they look so good. Like, the image looks so good. I was like, oh, crispiness. Like, I couldn't wait to start asking him what he had changed. And crazy that it just came up in conversation. Somebody else asked him and he just started breaking it all down in the live stream, and it was just super cool. But he mentioned what he did was that he went basically on Google and said, hey, how can I get Fuji colors or Fujifilm simulation colors onto my Sony cameras? And he's found a couple of videos and a couple of content creators who were able to get the same film style looks onto the Sony cameras, and it made a huge difference, to the point where I was like, yes, I'm down to go ahead and look at that, because even though there are similarities, I never thought of doing it that way. Like, I would always fix colors, but it was to like my own liking. Even though for my Fuji cameras, there's this app that I have on my phone called X Recipes, which kind of give you the ability to kind of tweak your older Fuji cameras, like the settings that they have, to get the newer film simulations that are out on their newer cameras. So I have an XT1, I'm able to tweak it to get similar, like presets as the XT4 and the XT5s that have the latest and greatest. So It's a really cool app, so kind of doing it like that, but instead of using an older Fuji camera, we're using our Sony cameras to emulate those same types of looks. So next week I'll bring this person onto Cities Gone, and that's what I'm probably gonna do next week. Let's talk about it. Let's see how I can get this image to give us a more filmic look, something similar to one of the film simulations from a Fuji camera. So we can go through it together, and then that way you can learn as well to how to get the best looking, crispiest images off of your Sony camera. So I think I already set it in stone. So if you haven't done so already and have not yet subscribed, please do so. It's absolutely free and it supports the channel. If you're still hanging out with me here right now, I think you should hit that like button. It's absolutely free as well, and it helps me out. And that way you won't miss episode 245. So today was 244, and if you're wondering what do these numbers mean, well, this is 244 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream, 4 years plus, and we're marching our way to December to complete 5 full years of every single Saturday doing a live stream, which, I'm thinking about it now, it's still mind-boggling. But I have to thank all of you here for hanging out, because you make this my favorite place to be. And like I had mentioned before, through all the rough times and trials and all the things that I've gone through within the last 5-6 years, I can't thank you guys enough for making this an amazing habit, right? A good habit, a great habit, and one say, to be able to keep this streak alive and be rolling for over 4 years. And it's been like a godsend for me, and hopefully you guys get just as much out of it, because you guys are what make it every single week. So keep rocking out, everyone. Thank you as always, and that's where we're gonna leave it. Let's go ahead and check this out here. Yep. Oh, I didn't even finish mention. I got into the whole thing. You know what? Let me finish that before we go. This is what happened. I bought the other printer, and I got lost in the story with the whole thing because that was really cool. But I forgot to mention what happened with the printer. So this was the idea. I'm thinking I needed a new extruder motor, because I'm thinking it was overheating and that it was causing it to glitch out some way. So my plan was, you know what, let's just swap out extruder motors, right? And if that is the culprit, then right away I would know that all I need to do is now buy a extruder motor, and now I have 2 printers and we're good to go. And everything was working perfectly until it wasn't. So this is where we're at with the printers. The motor is bad and needs to be replaced, because with the new printer I have one of those thermometers, and I can test it out, and it was running hot for a long time. You understand? Now it's to the point where that motor's unbearable to the touch, but it should be cooled to the touch, and it's not. So it needs to be replaced, but it's still not the cause of the problem, because I replaced the motors and I sent the job to print, and it was going until it caused a little defect and it started under extruding. Now, it wasn't to the point where it would ruin the print, but it would, like, in sense, like, it wouldn't ruin the print where you could visibly see like that it's stringing in what we call like a spaghetti farm. You understand? Like, that is just, it's been a total disaster. But it does ruin the finish of the print. So instead of it being like uniform, you will see like a divot line in it. Now, it wasn't to the point where it would damage the overall product, but it did damage the aesthetic 100%. So it was still a failed print. So it does need replacement, and I am leaving the motor from the new printer onto the old one, right? Because I'm gonna need to order one anyway. So instead of swapping them over again, I'm just gonna order the new one and throw it onto the new printer and let that one be kind of the main printer while it still gives me time to diagnose this one, because it's still not the extruder motor. There's still just one tiny hiccup, which is crazy, but that's exactly where I'm at. So now I'm also doubly glad that I purchased the new printer, because like I said, on top of that, I'm gonna have 2 of the Bamboo Labs A1 mini printers. One of them is working 100% fine, functioning, right? And as I wait for the motor for the other one, I'm gonna be breaking that one down to diagnose it, to see exactly what it could be. But the tests continue on the original, and I just hope that it just doesn't wear out after like 1,500 hours. But if it does, then I need to figure out a solution or a replacement aspect, because I think I might understand that the Bamboo Labs, I think this is the analogy that I'm going to end up coming up to. I might end up, because I'm trying to make parts, going with a bunch of Ender series type of printers, right? The cheaper, more like archaic style, because they're kind of like Freightliners. They're just gonna get the job done, and they're gonna haul everything that you need to haul from one to the other and just get work done. But they tend to move slower comparative to a sports car, which is what I would consider the Bamboo Labs types of machines. It's like a Maserati or a McLaren, so to speak, right? Where they're amazing high performance machines, but they're also finicky, and if you use the hell out of them, you might just wear them out. And that's might be the conclusion that I'm coming to with the A1 minis. You know, I have a second one, so I'm really gonna find out, right? But I'm really hoping that now I have the time to play with both the Ender, because the Ender I did get to work. Last week I mentioned that I picked one up for $50. I got the Ender 3 to work, and it's working amazingly, believe it or not. Like, it is more work, and it is, well, as far as the bed leveling, but there's a tactile feeling to it that's good about it, right? That it's like a physical setting aspect. Like, if I see that it's printing a little low, I don't have to stop the entire print. I can literally adjust it on the fly. So that's a cool aspect of it, that allows you to kind of just fix things before they completely go off the rails. But they're noisy and they're slow. That's why I call them the Freightliner. So they'll get the work done, but a print that would take 3 hours on my Bamboo Lab is gonna take 8 hours on the Ender. And I'm like, whoa, that it's a huge difference. And you can speed it up, but at the same time, then you'll be risking, you know, like the quality of the print. So to get a nice, consistent, high quality, you throw it on the Ender, but then that's kind of like set it and forget it. And where I was at previously, you know, where everything was a studio unit, so everything was there, it's not like I could just leave that printer running on overnight. It just made too much noise. Now here is going to be totally different, where you're going to have closed off rooms, and if I have a printer that's a little noisy throwing off in the back, you understand, I could just throw some moving blankets around it to kind of deaden the noise, and just close the door and go to sleep, and nobody's the wiser. So that's going to be an advantage. But that's the difference between the Bamboo Labs and the Ender series. I might end up picking up another Ender. I think I found another one for like $50. So with that being said, spending $100 on a couple of Freightliners, you understand, a couple of $50 Freightliner Ender series printers that are doing good, but like I just said, they're just noisier and slower. So I would say my Bamboo Labs are going to be the prototype machines. Those are going to be the ones that, like, when I want to test out and do measurements and things like that, that's what I'm going to be using those for. But then when I need to do the heavy lifting, like the amount of hours that I put into my original Bamboo Lab, I'm not going to do that to the new Mini. I'm gonna kind of baby that one a little bit while I try to figure out, because if at the end of the day, in a couple of weeks, a month, I come to find out, I'll be like, hey guys, after 1,600 hours on the A1 Mini, it's like you're gonna be chasing ghosts, so to speak, and it's never gonna work the way that you want to 100%. Then I will use that for, like, quick little test measurements. And once the file is complete and set in stone, like, okay, this is the final copy, then I'll be able to make a render of that, or a G-code file, throw it onto the enders, and then they'll just like live there forever. And that's the other cool part, where Bamboo Labs will require you to always use the application, right? For things like that, unless you put it onto the SD card, because it kind of just, it's an overwriting system. So the latest file kind of just overwrites, and after enough time, they'll just kind of like drop off the back end. With the enders, if you put it onto the SD card, it will always live there. So you'll be able to just go back to it and print it out. So for example, let's say I get an order for a Rig Junkie A7C. I'll be able to go to the ender, put in the filament that's correct, and then just hit that one, print, and it's off to the races, Freightliner style, right? Off and shipping. Then if I get one for the FX series, then I can just go to that same printer and just be like, oh, you know what? This time I'm just gonna pick the FX file, click, and that same filament, and just once again off to the races. So that's the cool aspect, but that's where we're at with the printers. Thank you for holding me to that, Mookie man. Appreciate you. But now that I did that, we're closer to the hour. So once again, everyone, for the second time, and it's okay, I'm Puerto Rican, but thank you as always for hanging out here with me. I'm glad that I was able to share that with you as well. And yeah, everybody was already saying bye, but now this is the official goodbye. Everyone, take care of yourselves and each other. If you haven't done so, mark it down on your calendars. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every single Saturday, we'll be here a little bit more set up. Another thing is, I have this desktop. Oh, it lost focus. Come on, focus. Oh, Gretchen, thank you for the super chat. You're amazing. Thank you. You guys always amaze me with super chats. You never have to, but when you do, it just shows me like so much love. And thank you. You're amazing. Gretchen's the bomb. Congrats on the new studio. But what I was saying is that I have a big honking piece of desk from IKEA. It's got a curve on it. So I'm going to see exactly how I'm going to work that out, because I think that my cage system is still going to go into that corner here. But because I have this desk, bam, I think this is where I'm going to throw in the back area over here. Maybe hang it off the wall. And that could be Print Farmlandia, right? 3D Landia. That actually sounds better. 3D Landia. Yeah, but thank you, Gretchen, as always. Everyone, take care of yourselves and each other. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces right here while we do it all over again next week. So until then, talk to you.